Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Today we are going to learn how to manipulate data with the Pandas library in Python. This is part of our machine learning course. So before we actually start this, we want to know what have we done so far. So basically, I have introduced you to Pandas during this set of videos. I've also told you how to describe data with Pandas, select and view data with Pandas, which was in two parts, and also how to and I haven't taught you how to manipulate that data with Pandas because we're only up to here, so we have not learnt yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my Jupyter notebook, but before I actually do that, I want to tell you, if you haven't set up your environment, which is compulsory, then please watch this video. I'll just put the link up in this corner, and also make sure you do it correctly, so then you can continue onto this video. Okay, so now let's actually get onto it. Okay, so here is the notebook we had last time. And I'm going to write some markdown code. Okay, so obviously today we are learning how to manipulate data. So I'm going to put some markdown. You can press Esc, enter. I'm going to put bold heading saying, and let me just zoom out though. Okay, I just zoomed in too much. Okay, there we go. So what I am going to do is I am going to write in a heading saying manipulating data with Pandas. Okay, so we have written a very nice heading. Okay, so before we actually learn how to manipulate data with Pandas, I'm going to teach you a few methods, okay? So here is the data frame we were using last time. It was stationary sales, if you call this. Oops, okay, what is that? Okay, so did I spell this wrong? Okay, no, I didn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rerun all the code over here first. Okay, so I have no idea why that happened there. Sometimes my computer just goes crazy, so you might want to go to kernel and restart it here, or sometimes it just comes after a bit of time. So here is the data frame we're actually using. We had a stationary sales data frame, and it had the type of stationery, the color, the length, and the cost. Okay, so what if we wanted to make make all the elements, so like such as pencil, ruler, and pen, in our type column in lowercase? What if we wanted to make all the letters into lowercase? What we can do is we can say stationary sales. We want to do this to the type column, obviously, and we want to lower this. So before we actually lower this using the .lower function, this is in normal Python, but in Pandas, if you just put $, it'll throw you an error. So what you need to do is you need to say .str.lower, so .string.lower, because we want to lower all the strings. So if we run this, it will lower everything in here, okay? So now let's view our stationary sales, oh my goodness, stationary sales data frame. Okay, so notice that the values have not gone lower. Why is this? This is because we didn't make the change permanent. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to reassign that column we need to reassign this type column over here, and change the type column whilst you're reassigning. So I'll show you what this means in a minute if you don't understand. So what you need to do is you need to say stationery sales, not make, sorry, type. So type, so we want to reassign this normal type column. So we are going to say is equal to, and again we're going to say it is equal to stationery cells. Also we want to select the type column. But now we want to do .str.lower. So what are we saying here? We are saying every value in our type column in stationery cells is now equal to the lowercase form of this type column in the stationery cells. And now, if we call stationery cells, everything is lowered, okay? So if you reassign a column, you can actually make the change permanent, okay? So there is also another way to do this. So if we try to do this with color, what we can do is we can say stationery cells. Stationery cells, we want to use the color column .str.lower in place is equal to what is it called again? In place is equal to true because we want it in place. Okay, so so obviously that just gave us an error because I spelled this wrong. Okay, so as you can see here, it got an unexpected keyword argument called in place. That is because you can't use this in the lower function, okay? You can only use this in some certain functions, okay? So let's try this. Now here, we can use it in a fill_NA function, but before we do that, I want to show you something important. So here I am in my desktop, but if I go to my practice project in ML course, I have stationery cells missing data.csv. So this one has some missing blanks in it, okay? So we don't want that. So what are we going to do? We are going to fill it up. So before I actually fill it up, I want to make sure it is in my practice project. Okay, so now it's in here. What we can do is we can now import it. And remember, if you want to do this, we need to use .read CSV. So I need to say stationery cells missing. So I am going to call this stationery cells missing because it's obviously got missing data. Is equal to PD, not stationery cells, because we want Pandas to read this file. .read CSV, because remember we are using CSV format. What file do we want to read? We want to read the car cells missing data file and put .csv at the end. And oh my goodness, what is this? It says here car cells missing dates. Okay, so apparently it has not found this. Okay, oh wait, why? Okay, it's not called car cells, sorry, it's called stationery cells. I keep on thinking about cars for some reason. Stationery cells. Okay, so again, we are going to call stationery cells missing. But this time, you can notice it says NaN, 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 NaN everywhere. Okay, so this means there is a missing slot. Okay, so NaN is just a placeholder for that. So we need to fill up these missing areas. Okay, so what I am going to do is, obviously we want to fill it up. Okay, so how can we do this? What I'm going to do is, first I'm going to fill in the length in centimeters column. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say stationary cells missing. Let's just wait for it to autocomplete. Stationary cells missing. Which column do you want to fill up? I want to fill up the length in centimeters column. And I want to fill the NAs. So this we have a function called fill NA. What do I want to fill each NaN in this column with? Okay, so we can only do this with one value. What do you want to fill it with? Well, I'm going to fill it with, so I'm going to fill it with I'm just going to type this out. Stationary cells. Oh my goodness, what happened here? Stationary cells missing. So what I was planning to fill it with is the mean of this whole column right here. So obviously I want to put in the length in centimeters column because I want to find the mean. And remember, we can use dot mean. We can use that method. And also we need to put in a second parameter, and this is in place. So now it will make sure this change is permanent. So in place is equal to false. Okay, run this, and now all the columns are filled up. So let's view our stationary cells missing. And now, as you can see, it is still not filled up. Okay, so why is this not filled up? This is because in place is set to false. We need to set it to true. So what we can do is we can go copy that and just select and set it to true. And now all of this is filled up. All of the NaNs are filled up with the mean of this whole column. Okay, so now we have filled up the NaN column. Okay, so now what can we do next? Okay, so if you don't want to spend your time just filling up NaNs all the time, what you can do is you can drop the NaN. So you can make sure whichever row has that NaN in it, you can just delete that row from your car cell, stationary cells missing. How do we do that? What we can do is we can say stationary cells. Obviously you want the missing one. Stationary cells missing dot drop NA. Okay, obviously you want to put in brackets. And now, as you can see, there are a lot of NaNs, so it has only given me 3 columns. Okay, sadly it has only given me 3 columns. Okay, so now let's check if this change is permanent. So I'm going to say car, not car, stationary cells missing, and as you can see, it is not filled up. Why is this? Because we haven't used in place is equal to false. Okay, so now let's set in place is equal to true. So I'm going to say stationary cells missing dot drop NA in place is equal to true. Okay, so now if you check on stationary cells, missing, we find out that we have only got 3 columns, okay? So instead of, what if you wanted to create data instead of just filling up some data, okay? So instead we can create some, okay? We can do this by doing a column. How do we do this? Now this is pretty easy. What we can do is we can say, let's create a new column. What shall we call it? Let's call it number. Okay. I don't know how many in stock. Okay, we're just calling it how many in stock because that is just what our stationary cells is going to be. Okay, so we just created how many in stock column. So I'm going to put column at the end. And I'm going to say is equal to pd dot series. So we need to put in pd dot series because we can create a column out of a series. You can't create it out of a data frame, otherwise it'll get far too confusing. So what elements do you want to put in our column? So as you can see now, we have only got 3 elements, so we just need to put in 3. So we can say 5, 5, 5. Yes, very little in stock, but it's just a placeholder. So now we need to actually make that column. We put in the contents, we want to make the column. So I'm going to say stationary cells. So now I'm going to add this to stationary cells. What column do we want to call our column? I'm going to say how many in stock. Okay, so how many in stock? Let's just put that. Okay, so that is what our column is called. And we want to make sure we put in the correct contents. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to set that to that. And obviously you've got how many in stock column. Okay, so now we've added in the contents. So now we are going to actually call stationary cells. Okay, so now we've got how many in stock column. But as you can see, these say NaN because this is the we are not using the stationary cells missing column anymore. So we are using this column. So we need to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more values. So let's add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I've added 5. And now all of them are filled with 5. Beautiful. So now we can actually create a column and add the values to that column using a Python list. So now what shall we put as our column? Let's put how many in each pack. Okay, so I'm trying to think of some columns from the top of my head. So let's create a Python list called how many in each pack. Okay, so I'm going to just let's create a Python list. Now you need only put brackets and you can just put in your numbers. So I'm going to put in that's 3, 7, 1, 9, 2, 7, 3, 8, 6, 2. So let's check if we've got the correct amount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we need to take away these extra 2 because we only have 8 elements. And now we want to create the column. So I am going to say stationary cells. Let's call our column how many in each pack. Okay, how many in each pack? What we need to put in the contents. Okay, so how many in each pack. Okay, and now let's call our stationary cells. Okay, so now we've got our random values again. Okay, so also we can put in another type of value by putting in the answer of a calculation. So let's put in maybe cost of everything. So what I can do is I can say let's say we put in, what should we put in? Yeah, okay. So what I'm going to put in is I'm going to put in the price of everything, okay? Or actually, let's put something else. Okay, so I came up with another name. So we could put in a quality one where you can do a calculation. Now the quality is going to be based on the cost multiplied by 2. Okay, so let's try this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say stationary cells. Let's create a column called quality, and this is equal to stationary cells cost, and we want to multiply this. So you can multiply by putting in an asterisk. We want to multiply this by 2. And if we try to view stationary cells, obviously it is now giving us this over here. But now there's 2 pound signs. Why is this? This is because it's multiplying it by 2, but it's multiplying the string 2 times because it has the pound sign. So remember, in the previous video, we converted our cost column into a integer. Okay, so we could run this again and just run everything right now. Okay, so now that still doesn't work. So again, now that is working. Okay, so now it's working because I ran everything, and now everything's kind of messed up. So let me just run this again so it doesn't look weird. Okay, so we have got it perfectly. Okay, so now that we have done that, we can also create another column and set that column to just a single value. Okay, so we could say what should we call a column this time? I'm running out of ideas. Let's say I'm trying to think of something right now. We could do something like rating. Okay, so we could say stationary cells. I am going to create another column called rating. So this is going to be out of 5. Let's set it to 4. Okay. Actually, let's set it to 4.5 because we have great stationary cells, and then we can view our stationary cells. Okay. Okay, so it's saying stationary cells. Okay, that's because I spelled this wrong. Okay, so now we've got a rating. We've got 4.5 rating for everything. Okay. So we can also put in a Boolean value, which is either true or false. So we can do this. So I'm going to say stationary cells. So remember, we need to spell everything properly. I'm going to create a column called damaged. So if the pencil, the stationery is damaged or not, I'm going to set this to false because we don't want our stationery to be damaged. And also you want to view stationery cells. Well, now we've got damage, and this is a Boolean value. Okay, so what we just did is we added so many columns. Now we might want to drop one. So let's say we wanted to drop the damage column. Then what we could do, that is actually pretty easy. We could just say stationary cells is equal to stationary cells dot drop, because we want to drop a column. Which column do you want to drop? We want to drop the damaged column. Okay, I spelled damaged wrong. Okay, so you want to drop this column, but again, we need to pass another parameter, and that is axis is equal to 1, because if you remember, if in the anatomy of Pandas data frame, a column is an axis of 1 and a row is an axis of 0. So we want to drop a column and not a row. So if we run this and view our stationary, oh no, so I spelled that wrong again, didn't I? Okay, so if we try to view our stationary cells, then our damage column is not there anymore. Okay, so now that we have learned how to add columns, we can now learn how to mix up all of these indexes. Okay, so what we can do is we can use the sample function. So I'm going to create a variable so we don't lose everything. I'm going to say stationary cells sample is equal to stationary cells dot sample, because we want to sample, and we need to put in a parameter called frac. Now in this case, I don't want, we could put in like 0.2, which is basically a fifth, or 0.5, which is half. But all I want is, I just want everything. So I'm going to say frac is equal to 1. I'm going to view my stationary cells sample, and I will get exactly the same. But notice the indexes are modeled up. That is what sample actually does. Okay, so you could also get if sample is actually really useful, because if you're working on a really big data frame, you might not want to work in all of it. You might want to work in tiny bits. Okay, so maybe like if you try to do 0.01, that would still be a lot. If you had like 200 million lines, 0.01 would only be 2 million lines. Okay, so you might want to do something smaller than that. You can also reset the index to your sample, so it will come perfectly. It will come in order again. So you can say stationary cells. We want our sample one dot reset index, and what this will do is it will put our index back in order. Okay, so we can also change our length in, now we have learned how to use sample, we can also change our length in centimeters to we can change our length in centimeters column to maybe, instead of centimeters, we could change it to inches. Okay, so how can we do that? I am going to say stationary cells. We want our length in centimeters column, and we want to apply something to every element in this column. And I'm just going to type something. You may not understand it. Lambda x is equal to x divided by x divided by 2.5. Now you may be thinking, whoa, what does this mean? So I have not taught you lambda functions before, but what a lambda function does is it's saying x, which is every element in here. We are going to reassign it to x divided by 2.5, which is the conversion from centimeters to inches. So you can search it up on Google if you like. And now, if we get it, we get inches this time. Okay, so we can also view our stationary cells, and it hasn't changed, obviously, and I think you can guess why, because we didn't reassign it. So again, we can say stationary cells. We want the length in centimeters column. We want to reassign it to stationary cells. Put this back here. I'm getting a lot of typos today, guys. I have no idea why. We obviously want the length in centimeters column, and we want to apply a lambda function to it. So apply lambda. So make sure you put in the b there. X, so every element in our length in centimeters column. So I'm going to say x divided by 2.5. And now if we try to view our stationary cells, there we go, then we should get it in inches this time. Okay, so right now we have learnt how to add columns, how to apply a function to each element in a certain column. We have also learned how to drop columns, fill NA positions in a column, use the sample function, and we have learned how to drop NAs. Okay, so that is the end of this video. If you like this video, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel. If you have any comments and doubt, please comment them in the comment section below. And please enjoy your day and look out for my next videos, where I'll be doing an introduction to the NumPy library in Python. Okay, so I guess that's the end of this video. Bye!